Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I'm joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's a retired cop looking for stuff to do. It's Olivia Richards. Hello.
Hey, and that's how I ended up here.
Yep. You know what? If Kevin could only discover podcasts, he would have.
That would add a plot to this.
He would have endless hours. What if the plot of this show is that Kevin James starts a podcast?
Oh my god. Well, he already started a zoo, so...
Good point.
That's going to be like the next... It's going to be the sequel.
He could do it in his time off from being a mall cop, I guess. So we are obviously, if you haven't guessed by now, we are talking about our very first premiere of the proper fall season. Son of Zorn was our first show technically, but it was a preview. This is a honest-to-goodness premiere. And what a premiere it was. It's the CBS show that we've all been waiting for. Kevin James' glorious return to the small screen. Kevin Can Wait. Olivia, what did you think?
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head right now. Oh my god. Remember when we predicted that the show was going to be terrible, and then it was?
Yeah.
I do.
I definitely remember predicting that if there was a most anticipated show of the fall, this was our least anticipated show of the fall.
Yeah.
So, reality lived up to expectations for you?
Yep. So Kevin Can Wait, but unfortunately we had to sit through what happened for 30 minutes on our screen.
Yeah, I hope Kevin doesn't wait too long to get canceled. Because that's
so many jokes going out of this.
I know. I mean, what's there to say? It like, really, truly, like, what do you say about a show like this? That is just ostensibly, it's a sitcom about a cop who just retired, but his daughter is getting married, and so he has to pick up a part-time job. And there's family, sitcom stuff. There's a family. But in reality, it's a show about the man-child that Kevin James has played in every role of his career. With a wife who is way too attractive for him, but who is somehow, like, sort of like the nag, as always is the case in these shows.
Right.
And just sort of their hijinks as he does man-child things and reacts immaturely to every situation, and then at the end of each episode miraculously has an epiphany and becomes mature. And that's, I mean, you could just not watch the series now, because that's what every episode's going to be.
But I don't even see it going that far, because I'm watching this, and the entire show seems tired of itself. Like, Kevin James seems tired of the role. Everyone in the show just doesn't really feel like they actually want to be there. The show seems so sick of the tropes that it's using. It's almost like a show that retired from its own genre. Like, it's horrible to watch. It just drains the life out of you.
Yeah, because maybe we're shortchanging Kevin James a bit, because, like, King of Queens wasn't my thing, but that also was a perfectly acceptable family sitcom that a lot of people liked and that ran forever and was generally, like, an okay show. You know, it's the kind King of Queens was the kind of show that you don't really rue the fact that it's on network TV for 12 seasons or whatever. Like, there was as much as there can be in the sort of traditional family sitcom format. There was a bit of a spark with that show. You had Leia Remini and all kinds of interesting people involved. This is just, like you said, dead on arrival. Everyone's cashing a paycheck. Nobody's talents are being put to use, except, I guess, Kevin James himself doing his sort of Paul Blart routine, you know, where he's just an overgrown child. And just, like, even if you're, like, into this genre, it's just hard for me to imagine finding anything resembling a laugh in this dark, dismal half hour.
Oh my god. And I felt my annoyance growing with every single canned laughter track that went over it. Because, like, somebody would say something, just anything, and then just laughter and just every annoying sitcom trope played over. Something that we've seen a million times before, but at the same time, there was nothing there.
Yeah. I should say, and this is going to be a fun running scorecard for us to keep. We are now 2 for 2 with regards to comedies where the central tension is between a father who has a very specific idea of masculinity and a younger male figure, be it a son or in this case a daughter's boyfriend, who does not fit that ideal of masculinity. And that's where like the central source of tension is derived. So we're 2 for 2 with Son of Zorn and now this one. So that's something to keep an eye on. A dark spot within the darkness of this sitcom season. So.
And I feel like because we're gonna get more of that coming up too, because we have that premiere coming up with Matt LeBlanc
and Joel McHale. And, I mean, we've just this is gonna be a fruitful drinking game we're playing.
God, this is the reason why I drink.
I know. Yeah, if you're not a drinker, this is the game that gets you into drinking because basically,
or forces me deeper into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, but just why? Why is that like an interesting sitcom thing? Like, is it like a meant as like backlash against the quote unquote PC culture? Like, what? I just don't. I don't get why this is like the central conceit of 90% of comedies this season. This sort of fragile masculinity, and yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that paired with, like, pitting the generations against each other. So you have the older, wiser generation who, obviously knows better. And then, the younger millennials, which, I love how TV loves to crap all over us, which is great to watch. But, it's typically, the college girl who comes home and she has, like, her boyfriend who more often than not is, like, doing his starter company with apps or something related to technology that the older generation doesn't understand. And then they're like, you don't know what you want. She's like, yes, I do. I love him and I'm going to take care of him. So it's like playing these kind of really obnoxious gender roles pitted against, the generation versus generation mentality, and having to watch that over and over and over again as it's played for laughs is just so overdone and obnoxious. And if I never have to see one of these like sitcoms that plays that up again, it will be the greatest day ever.
Yeah, just as an example, there's a moment, this is a live studio audience show where the daughter announces that she's engaged to, I believe his name is Chael, the sort of over-the-top millennial hipster, soft boy in general. He's a soft boy. Yeah. And the audience gasps in horror at that announcement. And it's like, hey, audience, maybe, like, chill. We met the dude, like, 30 seconds ago, and yeah, I understand, like, they're playing him up for comedic purposes, but also, it's like, she has a right to marry who she wants to marry, and I actually thought that the only, like, good performance in this is the daughter, who is not, like, who doesn't go, like, over-the-top ditzy or anything. Like, I did appreciate that the daughter character, who is portrayed by the writing as making, like, a terrible decision to marry this guy, is not playing into that with her performance. And I did like that maybe like we're headed towards a long-term story where Chael's app actually succeeds and he and the daughter become millionaires. I feel like that would be like a somewhat redeeming story here.
Right.
Just like that would be a fun twist, and Kevin James having to deal with that. But like, just like the audience, like, hey, she can marry who she wants to marry, and maybe give this guy a chance. And I know that we're not supposed to take like family sitcoms that seriously, but it's also like, it just feels a bit icky that so much of the comedy was based on judging her decisions. I don't know. It's just a weird. It's just a weird old timey bad sitcom where there's no spark whatsoever and no one really seems like they're trying.
I completely agree, and I think the only word I could use to describe this pilot was just draining.
Yeah, this was a draining one. It was 21 minutes long. I felt like it was about an hour and a half. So this one did a 2.6 rating in the demo, 11.2 million viewers, which means that it did pretty good ratings, because of course it did. Because it's Kevin James.
Damn it.
This was your pick, by the way, to be the first show canceled. I fear, Olivia, that as I said it at the time, you are overestimating the public. You have too much faith in us.
This is why I drink.
And I feel like you do. Now, who knows? I mean, maybe the Kevin James diehards recognize that this one isn't very good and will sort of flee in droves. But those are not the kind of numbers I would expect from a first show canceled of the fall season kind of show. So, alas. Wow. So, your verdict, Olivia. Cancel quickly, make it through the season, or renewed for next season?
I hate to say it, but based on the views, it's going to make it through the season.
I feel like this one might be on for like 5 seasons. Like, I don't know. Like, it's one of those shows where you like see it on the schedule and you're like, what? Like, this is still on?
It'll be Paul Blart retiree.
Yeah, that should have been the show, honestly. They even make a joke about him being a mall cop. It's like a real insight for the Kevin James heads out there. You know, some deep cuts. So yeah, I'm gonna say renewed for another season. And so your final verdict, Olivia. Let's flee this pilot like a crime scene. Your final verdict: thumbs up or thumbs down on Kevin Can Wait.
I already fled the planet. It's a thumbs down. It's horrible.
Yeah, let's get out of here. This is a thumbs down, obviously. What a way to start the season proper. Hopefully this is getting our worst one out of the way and we can move on to happier things. Because, spoiler alert, another pilot premiered last night that we're going to be much more excited to talk about, I think. So,
yeah.
All right. So you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBages.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next time.